like I said, I can't schedule these live streams. They're just too unpredictable. I end up spending way too much time trying to get set up for them and everything. So tonight was no exception. It took me 10 minutes just to get that thumbnail uploaded. And give me a sip of my coffee. I'm almost done with my coffee. Been working on just trying to get this live stream up and going for the last hour and a half or so. But how y'all doing? Joe here with the Idaho Prepper channel. Hope you guys had a good week. I know it's been a while since I've put any content out. All right, so I'm coming in. Well, that's good. I've been having so many issues. I did finally get an extender out here in my shop. So it's nice to be streaming once again from my shop. But if anything happens, if there's some disruption with the live feed, please let me know in the chats. I'm gonna see if I can get the chat uploaded to my whatchamacallit. What are we calling this thing? My laptop. LT Outdoorsman, there you are. See, all the late night Cretan preppers are out. Good to see you, buddy. It's been a while. Hopefully you're going to be coming up here elk hunting this year. I haven't forgotten your promise to do an elk hunt. But one second, let me click here. All right. It is National Preparedness Month, you guys. Hopefully you've taken FEMA's advice and got prepared. I know I'm going to have to turn this down here. I'm going to start hearing myself echo in a second here. But yeah, hopefully you guys have all taken FEMA's advice, because we all know FEMA is looking out for us. Yeah. All right. Okay, cool. I got the chat up on a separate window. That way I don't have to rely on the your chats popping up here. I can look back and forth, although my eyes don't work. Oh. I was at the carnival last month. Our local carnival came into town, and there was this lady that we're family friends with. She had a booth there, and she had done like a 7-day fast, I think. And like the last 3 days, she did like no water or something, but she had some like crazy success. I don't know if you guys have been listening to some of the research that's been coming out about fasting and what kind of improvements have been made with, in people's health with fasting. But she was telling me one of the craziest things that happened for her was that her vision came back from a fast. So I don't know if I have the discipline to do a fast, to be honest with you guys. I can't make it 24 hours. I mean, I can fast throughout the day, no problem, but once night rolls around, I'm just sitting there starving. I mean, it's hard. I don't know how people do it. I can't even sleep if I'm hungry. But I'm sure if I waited out, I locked myself in a room, that's pretty much the only way I think I could ever succeed in a fast, is I would literally have to be handcuffed to my bedroom or something like that. Wouldn't be the first time. Let's see here. We'll see who's in the chat here. Wow, a lot of people. What do we got here? 28. Nice. That was quick. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this, because like I said, it took me so long to get this chat going. I mean, this live stream going. I'm looking at the time like, oh, it's 8:30 Sunday. Like, nobody's going to be awake for this. But here you are. Crocheting Prepper was the first. So what's up? What's up, Crocheting Prepper? Demo Man Don. All right, everybody's letting me know. I'm just gonna make sure that I'm still coming in clear here. NorCal Chris, there you are. Oh, definitely an OG. Killer Ace, Clinton Stark, LT Outdoorsman, of course. There you are, buddy. Kevin Balby. Hopefully I pronounced that. Hello from Carolina. The feed seems to be good. Hey, that's nice. Good is good. Good is great. Luciano Ramos, blessed day of the Lord. Amen. NorCal Chris, just saying hello. All right. GP. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Excellent. I'm sure that X is silent. Lint. Sterling. Homestead Healing. There she is. My trusty moderator. Craig Edwards. Are you using wireless internet in your shop? If so, run a hardwire in an underground ABS pipe. So I did actually put a conduit to this shop a couple years ago when we were putting drainage in. So I had to redo the whole retaining wall that went from the main house to my shop, and we plumbed it. So not only did we put drainage, but since we had it all dug up, we went ahead and put some conduit in there for a Cat 5 line. But the issue is that my original internet service was line of sight, and that had a router that was in a good spot because the signal was up on our hill, so therefore the router could be anywhere. But now our router is kind of like, it's a hotspot. I guess it's still called a router, but that has to be in a very specific spot in order to get the internet. So unfortunately, I'm not able to run a direct line from the router to my shop. It would just be too much drilling in the house because of where it's set up. It's in a really inconvenient spot in our house. It's right in the living room, but it's just the only place that I can get a strong signal. So everything is just Wi-Fi, unfortunately. But yeah, it screwed everything up actually going to this type of internet. So I had a lot of things that were actually directly connected to the internet, such as my security cameras. So I had to reconfigure all those over to Wi-Fi. As a big pain, but we're good now. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm just solely on Wi-Fi out here. But the router seems to be doing okay. That was a big what do you call it, fiasco with trying to get internet extenders. I went through like 3 or 4 different types of extenders before I finally found one that was compatible with this type of internet. I tell you, you guys, it's like things are getting so complicated. Just internet, I don't know, this is just my age showing through, but I swear it just seems like the technology is advancing so quick, and it's so hard to keep up with so many different platforms. Like today, I was actually just trying to do a basic survival list on create a PDF and just do a basic survival checklist through my Google Doc. And it was like, every time I click on there, everything's changed. Like the format has totally changed. It was just, I spent the whole day on that before I finally gave up, but eventually I'll get it figured out. But yeah, it's just, everything is just changing so rapidly. It's so hard to keep up with it all. And you guys don't, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to complain about that. But eventually I'll get that prepping list up and going, but I'm trying to create a, a PDF version prepping list that you guys can download. I'm going to make it available as soon as I figure that part out. I got to figure the list out first, and then once I get that figured out, then I need to figure out a way to make it accessible to you guys. But yeah, it's been quite the process. I wish I could just sub this stuff out. But anyways, but yeah, a lot of those videos where I've done where I go through my prepper's checklist, I don't have it with me, but I'll get a lot of people asking me like, where you get that checklist? And it's nice because basically, if you guys ever seen my checklists, they have, just like blank check mark boxes next to them, and I put them in laminated folders, and then I put those in a binder, and then you just basically have a dry erase mark and just kind of go through when you're doing like monthly inventories or quarterly inventories. You can kind of go through with a dry erase, and check it as you go, fulfill all that stuff, and then just wipe it clean and start fresh. So they are convenient to have. So I think I might, I might do the lists and then set them up in the lamination form in a binder, probably sell those on my Etsy store for pretty cheap, and then just make the PDFs free for you guys in case you want to just print them out and then put them in your own laminated things. So it is pretty easy. But if somebody didn't want to do that, I just I could do that. With that said, with the Etsy store, if you guys want to support the channel, a good way to do that is head on over to my Etsy shop, which I have not put a link in this description, but it is DEFCON 1 Survival Supply at Etsy. So we got some fire tinder, really good fire tinder here. I make all of this stuff myself, handmade. And then I got a new product I'm really excited to show you guys. And this will be the first time I think I'm showing this on camera. I've done some posts on it, but these are my new Gen 2 small game survival snares. So I've been working on these for a long time, and the snares, I eventually, I was making them, the original small game snares. Let's see if I have any around here. The originals I was making myself, and those orders just started coming in like really fast. I couldn't keep up with the orders, so I started subbing them out. So there's a guy in Arkansas who makes all of my snares for me, and so I've been working with him, and basically we were kind of designing a snare. I'd been talking to him and said, I'm trying to find a snare that has like a much thinner wire, thinner cable. And it would be nice too if you could put a swivel on there, but not the heavy duty kind of, this is kind of trapping talk, trappers talk, but there are these swivels that are kind of made specifically for snares, but they're a little too big and bulky, and I didn't want to use those swivels. So I asked him if he could just come up with a small swivel that could be really versatile. And so he came up, I'll just go ahead and take these out, with this swivel here. And this is a really good one if you just want to nail this to a tree or screw it to a tree. It's really small, lightweight. But yeah, he came up with these swivels here. They could be mounted a lot easier, and it's nice. They have a little washer on here as well, and that makes it, when you capture a critter for survival, of course, when the critter's kind of spinning around, it's not going to twist up the line and fray up the line, then making the snare itself reusable. So we came up with this swivel system. It works really good. And then he came up with a much thinner cable. And so this is a 3/64 cable. They are 46 inches long. So you have a really long snare, which makes it really nice when you're out in the field trying to, you need the more space, the better. But yeah, came up with these, this nice thin 3/64 inch cable. And believe it or not, this cable actually has a higher shear strength. So it has an 800-pound, what do you call it? Shear strength. I just wrote it down somewhere. But anyways, 800 pounds before this thing snaps. So really cool. Just stronger than the other ones, than the 1/16 cable snares that I have. And then the locks on these, the micro locks, are all coated. So they're corrosion resistant. And it's a kind of a newer lock that's on here. So it's actually faster. But what's really nice about these snares, which makes them so unique and so much different and better than all of the other snares on the market, is one, they're light, it's a thinner snare, which is designed specifically for squirrels and rabbits, but the snares are charged. So it's probably the hardest part about making a snare is charging the snare, which means you're putting a little round charge in it. And that just makes it so the snare is more reliable. It falls when something's in it. Eventually I'll do a video on all of this lingo. You guys are kind of probably lost about what I'm saying, but very, very high quality snare. And I'll make sure to leave a link in the description of this video once I'm done. But I was gonna do a video on National Preparedness Month, but I don't know. I'm just not good at doing videos. I'm not even really that good at doing live streams, to be honest with you. But let's see here. I'm gonna catch up with the chats here. Anti, that's your name. Evening. Are you still totally happy with your duffel you did a video on? Oh yeah, I just used it 2 weeks ago. Family and I went camping. I love that thing. That big 100-liter duffel. That thing's awesome. It's like one of my favorite bags. I need to get something. I will say, it's so big. It's like I don't need that much stuff every single time. Sometimes my family and I will go on like a 2-day little camping trip, and it's like, okay, I don't need a 100-liter bag, but it is nice in the winter. Like maybe you're going on a couple, I don't know, 3-4 days. You need to put sweatshirts, jackets, big bulky items. You put your boots, extra boots in there. But yeah, you can just fill that thing up. It's really nice to have. But I mainly got that bag because I was actually trying to create I guess you call it like a bug out bag, but for when we have wildfires here and we have to evacuate as a family, I wanted a bag that I could put some clothes in and all of my gear in. And so, yeah, I saw that bag. I saw it actually on another prepping channel, but I can't remember the guy's name. It's like a bushcraft channel, but he got one of those. So yeah, it's a great bag. Definitely happy with it. Let's see here. Oh, I'm way behind. Well, I'm not going to try to catch up on all these. There's too many in here, but wow, you guys have been chatting. That's why I call this the Preppers Forum. I feel like you guys actually interact more with each other. I'm just kind of a visual aid. a very awful visual aid. Excuse me. Rock Valley Ready printed a checklist that has about 100 items broken down in 10 categories. Nice. Curious what you did it on. Whoa, NorCal Chris with the $10 super chat. Thanks, buddy. I, NorCal Chris always coming in with the super chats. So yes, this coffee is dedicated to you. So a contribution to the Jack in the Box coffee. Hey, the Jack in the Box coffee is good. I always take that over Starbucks. It's funny because in my area, the Jack in the Box is right next door to the Starbucks, but it's like, for one, the people at Jack in the Box are way nicer. I don't know what they're doing over there at Jack in the Box, but the gal at the drive-through is always super kind and polite and happy to see me. Whereas like the Starbucks girls are just in a pissy mood all the time. I don't know what it is. I was just talking to my wife about that. I'm like, have you noticed this with Starbucks ladies? They are not what they used to be. I don't know what's going on over there. I think they have like a certain quota. They got to start hiring the. Oh, got to choose my words carefully here. But yes, they're starting to employ the less fortunate in the looks department. We'll just put it that way. But my wife used to be a Starbucks barista back when the Starbucks, gals were hot and nice to look at. Now they're just angry and rough on the edges, we'll say. But yeah, that and it's like not even that good a coffee. You're not going to get nearly as caffeinated on Starbucks. I don't think it doesn't taste as good. It tastes like watered down. And it's expensive. It's like insane. It's like $5 for a coffee. And then they expect a tip after they treat you like garbage. It's ridiculous. PH Expat Prepper. I follow most other preppers as I always have something to learn. Craig Edwards, you rock just by chatting with us. Well, I appreciate it. Kevin Balby, do you know anything about my emergency radio? Oh, yes. Yes. Are you the one that contacted me? You sent me the radio programmers. I just been spacing going to my P.O. box. I have so much stuff going on. And it's on my, actually, I don't know if it's on my list. I'm going to put it on my list right now. I got all these lists going on right here. But this is going to be on my to-do list for tomorrow. Go to P.O. Box. I put an exclamation. There we are, a big asterisk, but got it on the to-do list. I got insane lists here for so many different things. Got these lists. I buy these pads in bulk on Amazon, and I use all of them. This is how I conduct my life. Just writing lists on these things. So yeah, each one represents a category, but sort of serves my ADHD brain well. But how's the feed coming through, you guys? I'm surprised this is actually working so well. The last time I tried it, it did not work. Oh yes, it was NorCal Chris. Duh. I knew that. Why can't I remember that? NorCal Chris sent me the programmer. I knew that, buddy. I know. I got to go to the P.O. box and check that. I was just saying to my wife, because they don't, when something goes to my P.O. box, and nothing ever gets sent to me there. I should have just had you send it to my home address, but nothing ever gets sent to me to my PO box. I just have it. Um, I just kind of have it as like a an address to have for certain things. So yes, I got to check that. I wish our post office would like. I wish there was some type of notification thing where they could tell me if text me or something when something has arrived to remind me. That's way too much for the post office to handle. All right. Well, yeah, I will get on that tomorrow. Definitely make it a point to head over to the PO box and get that. So I appreciate that, man. I am looking forward to checking that thing out. Because yeah, programming those bow things is can be tricky. Because I just been doing it from. Hopefully it'll be easier. But I always just program my radios from my PC, and it's tricky to do it with the cable and from the whatchamacallit program. It's tricky because I was able to upload some basic frequencies, but I was having a tough time actually getting some of the local emergency frequencies on the programmed in because of the way they program them, like the way that they are, I don't know, the way that they are coded in to that program that I can't remember, versus any type of offshoot site, which is what I was kind of having to use or go to get like police frequencies and things like that. They just wouldn't upload the same way. So it was complicated. I ended up kind of hitting a wall with some of the frequencies that I wanted. So hopefully that programmer will be easier. Ohio Valley prepping. I need to try it. Oh, I see. He's talking to LT Outdoorsman there. Chirp. There you go. Yep, that's the software. Anyways. What part of NorCal are you in, Chris? I think I've asked you, but it's been a while. Can't remember. I'm curious what part of NorCal you're in. If you don't mind sharing that info. Ohio Valley prepping. I learned how to program mine from Orlando Prepper. That was probably the way to go. I learned from like a radio channel where that's all they did. He's just like a ham radio operator, and it was good. The guy knew his thing, but it was kind of just it wasn't a very good introductory because he's knows so much. There was kind of so much information there to take in for a novice. So anyways, yeah, I'm just getting lost reading the chats there. But yes, this is National Preparedness Month. So it starts September 5th and it goes to the end of September, in case any of you guys are curious about that. And see here, I'm trying to pull up. Why is this not working? Trying to pull up the info I had on that, which is not going to show itself. Oh, you guys, I'm getting so old. I wish there was like a course on I bought this MacBook, but I hardly use it because it's too complicated. Here we go. No? Why can't I just pull up pages? Start page. Yeah, I mean, things are getting complicated. I'm telling you, it's not me. Like, I tried to upload a thumbnail for this live stream tonight. Like I tell you, every time I do a live stream, I don't know if it's just YouTube, like the features are glitching or what's going on. They're just having problems or what, but there's just so many things that are unnecessary. Like when I used to do a live stream, you go into the edit area where where you upload your thumbnail, you put in the title description, all that stuff. You choose what kind of audience you want, you monetize it, all that stuff, all those features. But there's a section where it goes upload thumbnail, and you click on it, and it will say choose more, upload a thumbnail from your computer, upload a thumbnail from your device. And this time it just wasn't, it wasn't giving me any options. It wasn't allowing me to go to my photos and upload the thumbnail that I created. So I had to go to to posts. Is really complicated, but I basically had to go as if I was uploading a post, and there it allowed me to pull my thumbnail into the whole realm of YouTube creativity, lack of a better word, and then go back to live and then pull the upload thumbnail from there. So yeah, it's ridiculous how complicated things are getting. I'd say that's probably the only part of like a full like grid down thing I'm looking forward to is just cell phones being down, like technology going down. It'll be nice. And people can get grounded again without all this technology, because it's just a nightmare. It's definitely not improving our lives. I don't know about you guys, but it's like these stupid phones, man. They just consume, they consume so much of my life. Like I'm trying to get things done. And yeah, like a lot of my business is, you have to have the phone. You have to have a computer. So much of my business is done via the internet like this, so I have to be on my phone for a certain amount of time, but it's so easy just to get distracted. There's so many things that will distract you, and it's just so addictive. The shorts are I don't know what your guys' Achilles heel is, but shorts are mine. That is just like my demon for sure. Short, especially like on X, because the shorts that are on X are so much more volatile than anything you find anywhere else. They're just awful, but I just get addicted to that stuff, and it just eats up all your time. Let's see if I missed what NorCal Chris said. Calaveras County, that's right, you told me that. Outside of Angels Camp. Yep. The wife and I are from, like, we're from Northern California. We're from Novato, if you know that area. It's about an hour north of San Francisco. So, yeah, we couldn't get out of there fast enough. It's funny. I still see people coming out here from California, and I'm just like, God, what took you so long? You almost got to question them. It's like your tolerance for that kind of life is a little too high for me. And that's the thing too. I mean, California is not a bad, especially Northern California, still pretty good place. But when they just started cracking down, like when the gun laws, just all the mag limits, that kind of stuff, when they made it so that you had to get the bullet button on the ARs, and then they got us reduced down to a 10-round magazine. I was like, I'm out. I can't. This is just. I just didn't feel right there. I mean, the crime is going up, and then your Second Amendment rights are going down simultaneously. I'm like, yeah, this is not a good situation. So yeah, poor LT outdoorsman is still in Southern California, but we forgive you. You're just you're a youngling. You're just still trying to get things going. So that's different. I'm trying to move, but money is a big thing. Gotta have money. Well, see, that's the other thing about California. I mean, they got you screwed. There's no upward mobility there. You can't make it there. You can't, I mean, unless you're like super wealth, like unless you're just bringing in super wealth, you're not going to make it there. You can't. There's no middle America in California. There's no middle class. You know, and if you are, I mean, there's like I guess the illusion of like middle class, but it's just so hard to get to save money and that kind of thing. So unless you're making a ton of cash. But that was like another kind of revelation I had living there. Was like, I'm throwing, I just couldn't. The amount of money I was making was just not a good fit for California, because most of it at a certain point, you know how it works. You make too much, they start taxing the heck out of you, and the rent and all that. It just robs you blind. Trying to just pay for the essential stuff, and then they start mandating stuff, so where you don't even have the option to opt out of stuff. Just trying to be a contractor in the state of California was getting ridiculous. The EPA got involved and then started making all the lead certification mandatory, and just it's just insane. My family's always trying to like convince me that they're always trying to convince me that, like, oh, it's not so bad, like, yeah, everything's good, I don't know why you left. And my dad was trying to tell me, like, the last time I was talking to him, he was trying to tell me that that the area of California he's in, and I know it, um, had a lower crime rate than my area in Nova in here in Idaho, which is just insane. It's just an insane state. And I know he pulled it. He Googled it. Google's become so corrupt. They vouch for these areas and skew everything. But I'm like, how is that even possible? You have like, the town that I grew up in. By the time I left, and I knew this because I knew some of the police officers there, they had 8 gang units in the one police department of the town or the city that I lived in. 8 gang units. So we have none where I am. There's 0 gang units. We have 0 gangs in Idaho, or at least the part of Idaho I'm in. I'm sure they come through, but there's literally no gangs on the books. There's no need for a gang unit. But I'll get the real like scoop on what things are going on in the area that I was in, from my uncle who's still there. I think there was just a gang shooting in the town that I grew up in, which is just crazy. There was a beheading in the park that was down the street from my house. A beheading. And they just, and it's like, you would think like, oh, there was a beheading, that would be like national news. It's just, kind of a side note in the newspaper. Oh, another gang beheading in the park. So yeah, they bury a lot of that stuff, but I feel you. I'm not knocking, I understand like there's still good parts in Northern California, like where NorCal Chris is. A lot of beautiful parts, that are still safe and cohesive. Um, but it's just it's just the kind of the laws I just couldn't deal with. There's just too much overreach. But the other thing I was going to mention, I guess this kind of pertains to people here in North Idaho, but if you are going to be visiting Idaho, North Idaho, anytime soon, I will say fall is the best time of year to come and visit Idaho. It's just beautiful. Everything's good. The hunting's good. The fishing's good in the fall. The landscape's beautiful. The colors, the reds and yellows. Just beautiful time. The weather's perfect. Not too hot, not too cold. And then there's just a lot going on. But one of the things that we have coming up, one of the events, is the Panhandle Preparedness Expo, which is going to start Saturday, October 4th, and will go through the 5th, so Saturday and Sunday, and it will be held at the Bonner County Fairgrounds in Sandpoint, Idaho. So Sandpoint's just a little north of us. But that should be a good time. I actually the lady who runs it actually reached out to me and asked if I was going to be attending this year and to see if I could promote it. So I said I would. I asked to see if asked her. I was like, well, if you get me a pass, I'd be happy to come and promote the event, and I'll cover the event. I'll do videos, shorts, and things like that. And she obliged, but it was funny. She's like, but it is only $5 a ticket. So I didn't know. I was like, oh, I didn't realize. I could have sworn it was more than that, but I might have it confused. There's like another type of event in the Kootenai County, our fairgrounds, which is like really expensive. It was like $60 a ticket, for their preparedness show. So I guess the Preparedness Expo is a little different, and yeah, it's only $5, so super cheap to get you in there. And there'll be some guest speakers there. I'm not sure who's speaking. I'm not going to be speaking. I'm a terrible speaker. There's going to be vendors, of course, and then some exhibitions. I'm not sure what those will be, but it should be a good time. So if you guys are interested, I'll make sure to leave a link in the description for that. You can get directions, or you can just go over to their website, which I did have pulled up here, but like I said, I don't know, the Gen Xers were taking over the boomers in terms of technology here. Here I was just like ratting on the boomers for so long for being so non-tech savvy, and here I am. Can't even find my way around a stupid MacBook. Yeah, that's gone. All I was trying to do was put some pages aside. And so I could pull up pages, and they're gone. What the heck happened? It's not there. It's not here. I don't know why it wouldn't be on the page I'm streaming from. So frustrating. But anyways, they do have a website. Let's see if I can pull that up. As soon as I can close my screen down. I don't know how to... God. This stuff is bad. Panhandle... Wait, is it Panhandle? Yeah. Preparedness Expo. My ADD is bad, you guys. I don't know if they're just like it's the chemtrails, or I'm just not eating good stuff or what. Anyways, that's panhandleprep.org. You got that? So you go over there and you can get tickets, I believe. You can contact the people in charge, but they actually have, she said, she was like, if you want, you can bring your camper here. And they, I guess everybody's camping there, making a whole weekend trip out of it. But I don't know. Sounds like a good time. I don't know if my family would be down to sit at a prepping expo for a weekend. I know the kids wouldn't be too thrilled about it. They'd be cool for the first, I don't know, couple hours. So long as there was soda and candy. But yeah, if you guys want to check that out, it should be fun. That's pretty much it as far as like what's going on here. As far as the National Preparedness Month thing, I'll just pull this up. I had it all pulled up, but now I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way and type it in here. FEMA, what a joke. They are, they're not even helping anybody. And that last situation, where was it? Was it North Carolina? All those people, they were basically, FEMA and the government was just getting in the way of people trying to help. So yeah, this is why, FEMA is the reason why we need to actually take preparedness into our own hands. I mean, that's good that they have a month and they're telling everybody, hey, get prepared, because clearly we're not going to be there to help you. So I guess we can give them credit for letting everybody know, every man for himself. But yeah, what a nightmare. Let's see here. I'm just trying to pull up this page that they had. I just get the AI version of everything. Would you like the AI version of this? Would you like to get would you like to dive deeper in AI mode? Yes. Yes, give me the AI version. I really thought, though, in the beginning that AI was going to be really helpful. And still, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's pretty helpful. But it's not, it's not all it's cracked up to be. And it's like kind of, I don't know. My take on it is it's like, oh, what's the word? It's just kind of like it gives you a false sense of what it can do. It kind of gives you this sense like, oh, wow, you're going to write all this stuff for me. You're going to put this thing together for me. But it doesn't. It's not quite there. It doesn't quite give you what you want. And so you're better off, I mean, you can kind of use it as like footnotes sometimes. It kind of helps you with things, but you can't fully rely on it. That's for sure. And I don't think you'd ever want to. It's kind of scary to think. But it does kind of give you a false sense of support, I guess you'd say. But we'll see here. National Preparedness Month is a collective, oh, there's that word, a collective effort involving individuals, businesses, all levels of government, and nonprofit organizations to build and maintain capabilities to prevent, protect against, mitigate, respond to, and recover from significant threats to the United States. The National Preparedness Goal. This sets the vision for a secure and resilient nation and defines 5 mission areas for emergency and disaster preparedness. The National Preparedness System. This provides guidance to various partners on building and sustaining the capabilities necessary to achieve the National Preparedness Goal. National Preparedness Month. An annual campaign in September to encourage Americans to prepare for emergencies. So, what does it tell us to do? Well, yeah, what is it telling us to do? It's just saying what it's, I don't know. Okay. Presidential Policy Directive, PPD 8. This directive strengthens U.S. resilience by addressing major threats, including terrorism, cyber attacks, pandemics, and natural disasters. Okay, so it's saying how to get involved, know your risks. So, yeah, that is important. Before you start prepping, you should kind of know your area, what is the most probable situation that's going to unfold, what you should prepare for. That's going to pretty much dictate a lot of your preparedness plan. So, that's true. It's the first thing you should probably assess. Think about your area, your environment, and then build all your plan and all your supplies and stuff around that. So next thing is make a family emergency plan. So develop a plan for how your family will communicate and reunite if separated. So I actually did a really good video, if I do say so myself, on that family emergency plan. You guys want to watch that, I'll link it in the description. But it kind of covered all of the different phases. If your family, if something happened and you're all at work and you basically had to, your family and your team all had to unite, and kind of the plan that I have put in place, for that kind of situation. And obviously it depends on the situation, but you got to have multiple rendezvous points. I'll just say that. So any type of emergency plan should consist of multiple meetup points. And your communication plan, like if their cell phone towers are down, you should have multiple alternative forms of communication, being hand radio. That's why I always recommend these GPS radios. They're really good for family. So long as your family is going to be within 3 to 5 miles of one another, which is a pretty reasonable, area to cover. But yes, definitely make an emergency plan for your family and loved ones, to communicate and reunite if something happens and we all get separated. Build a supply kit. Obviously, I've done so many videos on that. I can't even count anymore, but definitely build a supply kit. Assemble a kit with essential supplies for emergencies, including food, water, and a go bag. Get involved. Learn first aid. Join a community emergency response team, CERT, or volunteer to help your community prepare. So that's a big one. I mean, now's the time to definitely start getting familiar with your neighborhoods, really realizing who the good people are and who the bad people are. I've been realizing a lot of who the bad people are in the last few months in my neighborhood, which I won't get into, but definitely a lot of traitors in my neighborhood. So it's good to know who the traitors are, who the people who you can trust, and who the people are that you can't. You want to steer clear of. But let's see. Learn first aid, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we got that. Dive even deeper in AI mode. Wow, it just keeps going deeper. Um, yeah. Various resources are available to help individuals and communities prepare. Ready.gov, a FEMA website, offers preparedness guidance. The American Red Cross provides training and resources. The Community Emergency Response Team, CERT, or CERT, program trains individuals in basic disaster response skills. Yes. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, I was going to kind of do a video on just some of the things that are going on in our, in just global economics, not just in our economy, but around the world. And, for those of you who have been keeping tabs on the gold and silver prices, you notice that gold just surpassed 3,600 this week, which is a record. And basically, China is buying up a ton of the gold. That's what's, from what I understand, the videos that I've watched, that's one of the leading reasons behind the gold spike in particular. So, yeah, I know there were a lot of people, saying get into gold. It was a little too, late. When people were saying that, you always say a little too late. It's never too late. But, when people were telling me that I should get into gold, and I was already totally invested in silver, gold was at 1,600 an ounce, which I thought was insane, but they're like, you got to get into it. It's going to keep going. And sure enough, like it doubled in a year's time. So for those of you who got gold early on 5 years ago or so, you're doing well. Same with silver. Did pretty. Silver is probably tripled since I've invested in it. I got it when it was, I want to say it was either $13 an ounce or $16 an ounce. May have been $16 an ounce, but yeah, it's more than doubled. Silver is at 41, a little over $41 an ounce. So I haven't seen it that. I remember when it hit $40 an ounce in 2011 or 2012, when basically a lot of people were really getting into prepping. It was a big surge in interest in the preparedness community, and we were going through, the crash. Obviously, the housing crash was in full swing. A lot of people were definitely thinking that was going to lead to a full-blown economic collapse. And so we saw silver prices, particularly silver prices, just go through the roof. Went up to $40 an ounce and then came back down to like 12 or something and kind of crashed. But now it's been kind of slowly. So the prices that you're seeing now, I think, are a lot more realistic. Because we didn't get to these prices with massive spikes. It's just kind of been a slowly earning here. So, yeah, I think definitely as things progress, there was a lot of speculation that the UK's economy is on the verge of crashing. And it's something a lot of people aren't talking about. It's hard to get news on that. I will make sure to leave a link in the description. I always say that. I should make a note. I will leave a link in the description for a good show that I watched about this. And I'll even give you the timestamp in which they start talking about it. But go ahead and I'll link their show. That is the Backlash on YouTube. They got some good content, so check them out. People are always asking me what my sources are. That's definitely one of the sources. So they are actually local here. We know, we actually know the girl on that show on a first name basis. I know some of the other people. I've never met them in person. I've seen one of them, although he's no longer on the show. But the other guy that's on the show, I know of him. But they're all here. They're all local here in my area. So they got some good content over there. But I'll make sure to leave a link on to that show. They talked about that, but there's definitely a lot of people, who are like gold and silver specialists who see a big crash coming. That's why, they're stocking up. Why we're seeing this surge. It's just the debt is unsustainable. It's been that way for a long time, but it's getting worse and worse. And I've talked about this, and it's really, I mean, I know this sounds cliche, but it really isn't a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And it's like, it's coming. Like, there's no question about it. The only reason it hasn't happened yet, just so you know, is because we've been printing money, because the Fed has been printing money and buying the debt. But that's all it is. That's the only reason the interest rates have been somewhat normal and it hasn't happened yet, is because we're just printing money. But you can only do that for so long. And history has shown this time and time again. It's totally unsustainable. And we're becoming, and as our debt's going up, we're becoming a more and more bottom heavy country. We have less producers. We have, less high skilled people creating things. We're just becoming a very low skilled, low IQ, bottom heavy economy. And at the same time, we're in an insane amount of debt and we're printing money to just buy time. I mean, it's for sure. It's like a nuke ready to go off. So hopefully you guys are prepared. And it's the kind of situation, it's not, when it happens, maybe it'll be slow, maybe it'll be fast. I don't know. But you're going to need to be thinking about preparedness from a long-term standpoint, from a sustainable standpoint, how you're going to be able to make it through a long period of time where there just isn't money. That's what you're going to be have to be thinking about. That's what I'm thinking about. So, how do you procure food for your, keep good fresh food to keep you and your family fed? How are you going to do that when there's no money? So these are the things you're going to have to start thinking about. Does that mean you're going to have to, you're going to have to get like chickens and then get incubators and start fertilizing those eggs so you can start, reproducing your livestock? And then if that's how you're going to do it, then how do you reproduce the food for that livestock? I mean, this is what the things that I'm thinking of for sure. I'm thinking about how I'm going to keep this stuff renewable. Water is one thing. Water is relatively easy, at least where we are. Food is a whole different animal, especially if you're in a cold region. So there's certain things that I can do and keep renewing, like firewood, heat, obviously, for our house. I can keep our house warm throughout the winter. That's no problem. I can keep water coming in because of our creek, snow, melting ice if I had to. It is there, but food is a totally different animal. And, obviously you can only stockpile so much food. And just keep in mind, we do enter if there's any type of major disaster, which basically turns into a long-term situation where there's no food, we're just cut off from the food supply for a long time, no money coming in. yeah, you're gonna have to get creative. And I'm kind of on it, in all honesty, kind of at a like at a firewall here with the renewability when it comes to a food source for my livestock. That's a tricky one, because eventually you just it's especially in the wintertime, it's hard to keep like that. You can't just let the chickens out and have them free range because there's snow all over the ground, and you can only buy so much food. It doesn't last that long. Chicken food doesn't have a very long shelf life. And even if I could afford to buy a year's supply of chicken food, it's like, well, what happens at the end of that year? So eventually it's going to get to a point, you know, where you're going to have to start renewing this stuff. And I don't know what that looks like, in all honesty. I don't, other than you're just making it yourself and somehow producing it yourself and then using it, figuring out a way how to grow the food, and then store it for the animals. I'm sure it's a lot simpler than, I don't know. There's somebody out there that's probably shaking their head, going like, "You dumb city idiot! You just do this." But I don't know what that is. All right, I'm gonna check in on the live stream here. Oh, what the? Somebody said it's insane now. Are you referring to the show, the live stream? Did the live stream? He's gone insane now. I will say, you guys in my live streams, man, like you guys are the best. Watch, see, now somebody's gonna call me some choice words here, but you guys are the best. I'm always just waiting to read some nasty chat, but I don't get it. Maybe Homestead Healing is just a really good moderator. she's getting the riffraff out of the chat, but no, you guys are the best. Very supportive. You're in the know for sure. Let's see what Homestead Healings has to say about me. Joe likes them more than I do, but we've had tons of eggs, and it preserves them and gives them a good flavor plus health benefits. Fermented. You must be talking about pickled eggs. Am I right? That would be right. Oh, those pickled eggs. I forgot I was going to do a post on that, but my wife and I, we actually made a bunch of pickles because our pickling cucumbers always do really well in our garden. Not very much else does, but the pickling cucumbers always do really well. So I made a ton of pickles. The brine is okay. I mean, I haven't mastered it. It's not quite what I'm looking for taste-wise. I've tried, and it really seems like it's all about the water to vinegar to salt ratio. It's actually water to vinegar to salt to sugar ratio. There's a very, very fine ratio that you got to get right when it comes to pickling pretty much anything. But we did pickled eggs. This is the first year that we did pickled eggs because we just have so many eggs. Man, are those good. They're hard to keep around. Thankfully, I'm so lucky nobody else likes them but me. But man, those pickled eggs, I'm starting to... So I didn't eat dinner tonight, so I'm not just some fat pig on here like salivating, talking about food. I haven't eaten... I don't think I ate lunch either. I had breakfast, skipped lunch, haven't had dinner yet. But yeah, those pickled eggs, we did a basic brine, salt, water, sugar, vinegar. And then we put in some onions, some garlic, jalapenos, and peppercorns. What else did we do? Some other spices, some coriander maybe. We had some fennel. I put fennel in with the pickles, which is okay. I would have preferred dill, but the dill just doesn't do well here. I don't know. I can't get dill to grow. There must be a trick to it. And even at the stores, the dill is expensive. When you go to buy fresh dill, they want like a couple dollars per, strand of dill, like the full dill stock, Crazy. So, yeah, I did a little bit of dill, but we just didn't have very much this year. Just doesn't grow well. The red beet ones, I wasn't a big fan of. I know somebody's going to give me so much grief for taking my glasses on and off, you guys, but I hate the way I look with glasses, but I can't see. I can't see them without them. It's a very bittersweet relationship I have with reading glasses. Pickling spice, and I made pickles, beets, and eggs. But yeah, those beets, the beet, red beet, egg brine, well, not good. That is a required taste for sure. Not a fan. It's pretty nice to have a real cool red, purple egg, but definitely not a fan of the taste. AJ Ridge, tannerite is funny and dangerous. Make sure it's far away from anything you care about. Very energetic. Yeah, you wouldn't want to put tannerite next to like your driveway entrance during an SHTF situation. Oh, NorCal Chris is going and saying goodnight. Good night, Chris. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Thank you for your support. I appreciate you. One of these days we'll have to connect if you ever come out to North Idaho from Northern California. Oh, am I totally off? Nope. He said goodnight to somebody else. Boy, do I look dumb. Homestead Healing, DGS. What does that stand for? Yeah, NorCal Chris. I'm a ride or die, bro. Yeah, NorCal Chris is going to stay here. See, I forgot to tell you guys that. I'm actually, because this is National Preparedness Month, this live stream is going to be going on 24 hours a day for the next 30 days. I should have started it on September 1st when National Preparedness Month started, but yeah, I'm starting tonight. But yeah, this is a never-ending marathon live stream. We're going on for the full month of September. I hope you guys are ready. Chris said he was down, so I wonder how many subscribers. I don't think that's ever been done. Like a full prepper live stream marathon. If anybody can do it, it's going to be me. Although I don't have very much coffee left in there. Running low. The missus made me like a pumpkin spice latte coffee. And then I got this cup. It's actually a Camelback from this local store. It just opened up called Sierra Trading Post or something like that. So got this cool mug. Kind of, what do they call these? Like a driver's mug. It's like 16 bucks. Not as cool as this one though. This is the original OG coffee mug. Just not big enough. Unfortunately. If I could get these like in a 24-ounce mug, just like a huge mug. Look at that. I can't even fit 4 fingers in there. I know what you're thinking. I'm not going to say it. Anyways, it's good. It's pumpkin-y. So, yeah, if I covered everything tonight, one of the things I've been, I need to do a video on is this optic here. So this was sent to me by a company called Vector Optics. And it's really nice. You open it up. Look at that. It has a little gun right there. That's actually a tool for the optic. But the problem is that when they contacted me, I thought the optic was for an AR. I thought it was like a big red dot. And it was actually a little one. It's made for a pistol. And I was like, dude, I don't think I have a pistol that this optic will fit on. And I wouldn't know, and honestly, and I don't think it will mount. Like, I got to get some special mounting hardware for this. But this is the optic here. See? It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of wide for a pistol, but you need a full-size firearm. It's too wide for my M&P shield, and it's almost a little too wide for my HK USP. So I don't know. I think I'm going to take it down to this gun store here, this local gun store, actually called Praetorian Guns. They are off of Government Way, I think, in Kootenai County. But I met those guys actually at a gun show a couple years back, and they were pretty cool. Pretty cool guys. I just haven't had a chance to go in there, but eventually I'll get in there and I'm going to have those guys mount it either to my, if I can get this mounted to my HK, I'll do that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to buy a Glock 19. Sorry, babe. I'm going to have to buy it. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm a prepping channel. You know, I have companies that are relying on me to get optics advertised. So I'm going to have to buy another sidearm. Sorry. Let's see here. Let's see. Is it going to let me scroll up? Let's see what I've missed. But anyways, you guys want to check them out. Vector Optics. I feel bad. He reached out to me. He's like, "Are you going to do this video?" And I'm like, "Buddy, this isn't the optic I thought it was. Sorry, I should have read the description better. I just kind of assumed that it was something that it wasn't. But it's really cool. It comes with everything, but really nice optic for the price. And it's not a dirt cheap optic. It's not one of those, $20 optics. It's actually pretty nice. I'm not sure what the price is, but that's the thing, man. I mean, I tell you what, there's just, it's getting difficult. This has actually been something that's going on in a lot of different companies, is that China is starting to produce really good stuff that a lot of these big brand companies are having a hard time competing with, because it's like, the price, it's just so much cheaper, and the products are getting better, and it's just yeah. Not a lot of people are talking about that, but there's only so many areas where that's happening. But the optics is definitely one of those areas where China is really starting to stand out and coming out with some really nice optics for extremely cheap. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think that I kind of almost feel like the tariffs in a lot of ways was like it's like a response to the tariffs. And I think what's happening is a lot of these manufacturers are actually coming to the US, like from China, and are, you know, based out of China, or basically they're based out of the US, but they're being manufactured in China. And it was like American companies that were doing that, but it's like now you actually have Chinese like foreigners coming into the country and opening up shop, and they just have a direct connection, and the stuff is getting better. So yeah, I don't like it any more than you do, you guys, but I don't know really what to say about that. I mean, I think there's bigger problems than China undercutting us. I know a lot of people are going to get pissed at that, but we actually have much bigger problems than cheap products from China. I'll just tell you that. So, but anyways, I think that is the situation with this company. The other thing you got to keep in mind too is there's a lot of American companies that really they'll go out of their way to make it seem like it's an American product, and it's not. You got to read the fine print, and they'll go to great measures to not disclose that. I don't know how they get away with it. I mean, usually you would be able, you'd have to have a big tag or something on the product or on the website where it says made in China or made in, Taiwan or whatever. But that stuff, it's getting harder and harder to see. Now you're starting to see these labels where it says, where does it say, engineered, designed, and packaged in the U.S., but made, and then they won't even say China. Now they're like, it's like all this, whatever. They're just curtailing, all this double speak to just not say the word China. They'll say Asia. They'll be like, what was one guy, I remember, he was making these products, and I'm like, where is it made? And he is just like, South Asia? Like, dude, just say China. But yeah, there's actually a product they make it seem like it's made in Sweden, and it's just made in China. There's actually nothing Swedish about it. Not even the owner of the company is Swedish. But they're just pawning it off as, like it's Swedish made products. And you all know this product, you're familiar with it. I said it, but the thing is, I know the guy personally. He probably taps into my show from time to time, so I'm not going to throw him under the bus, even though I know he probably would for me. But whatever, I'm not that kind of guy. Anyways, where are we at here? I'm way behind. Swedish. I didn't say Swedish, did I? 9 or 10 mil. 9 or 10 mil. See, I'm just rating chats amongst you fellows. What is your favorite knife? You're asking me, or are you asking somebody else in the chat? If you're asking me, it's probably my EC. I have it with me right here. This is the EC Azula 2 neck knife. This is my favorite knife. I carry it with me. I wouldn't say all the time, but wherever I can, I carry this knife. But I love this knife. Definitely my favorite knife. My go-to knife is my folder. This is my Spyderco. This is the Para 3. Good folder knife. Definitely most expensive flip knife, folder knife I've ever owned. I think. I don't know. Probably. It's definitely the most expensive knife I've ever purchased for myself. I did have a really nice case knife that my uncle gave me. A really nice knife by Case, C-A-S-E. Those of you who know knives. It was a really nice one. And I lost it in a kayaking accident. I was so upset. I stuffed it in my kayak, and I was fishing, and I got too close to this whatever river coming in, and I got pushed up against a rock and flipped out. And I knew as soon if I pulled out, I was gonna lose everything. And I was like sitting there, I'm like, let's see, do I just drown and die, or do I lose the knife? I was literally sitting there kind of debating it, like maybe what will be worse, death or losing all my stuff in my pockets. Obviously, I chose to lose the knife, but yeah, it was a nice knife. My third favorite knife, I'll show you. Talking knives, and I've kind of run out of things to talk about. This is a Rat 7 knife by Ontario, and this is like an awesome chopper knife. This is my third favorite knife. So it's basically just good for chopping. You can baton with this knife. It's like the perfect knife for batoning, delimbing branches, building shelters. So if you had to choose a knife, like somewhere between a knife and a hatchet, this is that knife. Although, I will say, because I've been thinking, there's a video that I've been thinking of doing for so long, and I just haven't done it. Because in my mind, I just don't see it, the video going very well, or being very interesting. But the video is based on if I had, a certain, like if I could only bring one tool, like if I was in a survival situation and I could only bring one tool into the forest or into the woods with me, what would it be? And it would be like this knife, my little EC Azula 2. Would it just be my folder knife? Would it be this knife? Would it be the Rat 7 Ontario knife? A lot of people would probably think that it would be this knife, right? Because it's kind of versatile. Or would it be a hatchet? This is my Schrade hatchet. Or would it be a saw, like a folding saw? I don't have a folding saw in here. Actually, I do, but I'm not going to get it out. Or would it be a folding saw? I'm curious in the chat what you guys think I would choose. So, what would I choose? This knife, this knife, this knife, the hatchet, or a folding saw, or a machete. I have a machete that's strapped over there. Let's see if I can get this thing out. I guess YouTube doesn't have any issues with putting knives on live streams. Guns is a different story. But I guess knives are okay. Or would it be the machete? And this is, what is this? Oh yeah, this is Ontario. This is on Ontario machete. You guys see that? And I got a nice sheath for it. I picked that up at a survival shop in Bonners Ferry, back when Bonners Ferry was cool. I'm almost positive that shop, that survival shop up there that I bought that sheath from, was owned by a Fed. That whole place is just crawling with Feds. Still to this day. Okay, so PH Expat Prepper says hatchet. Let's see, I'm going to try to find where did the... Do I know Owen Benjamin? No. I used to kind of follow him and listen to him, and then he just started getting like weird. That guy. But I know he's up in Sandpoint, or he's actually... Is he in Naples? I don't know. He's somewhere up there. I think he's in Sandpoint. That guy's just, I don't know. He was cool for the first, I think when he first came on the scene way back, like 6 years, 7 years ago or so. But he just kind of went off the deep end. Okay, so Expat Prepper said hatchet. NorCal Chris says whatever knife you have that mounts on your AR. Yeah, that's funny. Come on, serious answers here. You got to choose one of these. One of these. Gray bearded prepper says the chopper. So the rat or the rat 7. Is that what you mean, or do you mean this, the hatchet? Colleen Dame says Starbucks hot chocolate is just terrible. Did you just tune in to the live stream, darling? That's okay. It is. Starbucks hot chocolate is... You're probably talking to somebody else. I don't even know. You're probably talking to my lady. But yeah, everything. Starbucks just sucks. Okay. The amateur, how many potatoes do you own? What we're talking about knives here. K-Bar is a good call. Huh? Graybeard Pepper. Okay, Rat 7. So we got a vote for the Rat 7. Rock Valley Ready says hatchet. NorCal Chris says hatchet. All right. Okay, only so many people participating in this this contest here. Well, yes, if you said hatchet, that is what I chose. The hatchet. And I'll tell you why. And I probably should have thrown in one little caveat to this scenario, is if you had a sharpener. You got to kind of... So long as I had the ability to keep all these things sharp, yeah, the hatchet, especially this one. Because really there's just a couple... The thing you're going to be doing the most of, if you're out stuck in a survival situation in the wilderness, is procuring firewood. That's what you're going to be doing more than anything. So you're going to be needing to split wood. Now, yeah, it's going to be hard with a little hatchet like this to chop down a big tree. You'd kind of have to focus on whatever smaller stuff. Not to say you cut down a tree, but you could pretty much do everything. You split your wood with this. You cut your wood with this. You could, if it's sharp enough, like I said, you keep this sharp. You could process game with this. I mean, you can get in there with this blade, and you could process game. Technically, with this, it wouldn't be the easiest thing, but it could be done, especially if it was sharp. And I keep this pretty sharp. So obviously, you build shelters with this, but it's just so durable. It's just thick steel, so it's not going to break. It's reliable. But yeah, definitely. And I kind of was like, I really did go back and forth with this knife here. But really the only advantage to this knife is like it gives you a little bit better game processing capabilities. You could process, game a little bit easier with this, a little more effectively with this than with this. But yeah, and yes, you could process firewood, but not nearly as easy as you could with this. So you just don't want to be wearing, when it comes to a survival situation, I think you're just going to want to be preserving your calories, just not wanting, just not consuming a bunch of calories expending calories. What did I just say? It's getting tired. Expending calories, expending energy. Boy, time is it, you guys? Getting tired here. But yeah, I wasn't sure. It was kind of a toss up between this and the hatchet, but in the end, I definitely chose the hatchet as the way to go. But I guess that obviously kind of depends on your environment. If you're in like a desert environment, you don't need to be starting a lot of fires all the time, or it's just hot all the time. Maybe there's not a lot of wood to process. Then you go with something small. But yeah, that was my choice. All right, let's see. If you guys haven't done so, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel. I'm sure all you guys are subscribers. You guys are my loyal subscribers. I'm still retaining 43 people. Oh, I see. I got different thumbs up. I got 41 thumbs up on my phone there. I got a $9.99 super chat from NorCal Chris. And then I have 43 people watching. It's crazy. I swear it's always like 43. It'll get down to 27, which makes me realize that, I have, what do I have, like 81,000 subscribers, but when it comes down to it, I really only have like 27 people. Like 27 people that are just like Idaho prepper all the way. 81,000 subscribers, but just 27 people that care. And isn't that how it actually is? At the end of the day, it's just 3%. 3% are really there for you, are really down. If that. It's more like probably like 1%. Yep. I think it was like so many people. It was like that's what COVID was for so many people, was just realizing like, oh wow, like not over 90% of the population supports tyranny. That's crazy. The majority of people who carry themselves as like, constitution loving, freedom loving American nationalists were just so quick to, get vaxxed and put a mask on their face. It was crazy. I heard somebody say it. It's so true. It's like who you were during COVID is who you are as a person. And that's what that time revealed. It revealed that was what actually COVID was. It was like a kind of a blessing in disguise, but it really was. It was like it showed people for who they truly are. And I think so many people, and it was sickening in a lot of ways, because you realize there was so many people who you thought were like just, down for the fight, down for the cause, and they were just so quick to just get in full lockstep and just submit. That was like the worst part, and just seeing how many people got ugly, and really got on board. It's the kind of people that you kind of expected would, but you just didn't know how hardcore, how ugly they would get. And I mean, just, yeah, how many like just Benedict Arnolds there are, in your family and in your circles. I mean, just how many traitors and how many turncoats and rats, we were surrounded by. But now I know. Now we know. I only had a couple in my family, and they were kind of the ones that I had already expected. I didn't think that they would be quite so ugly, but yeah, I mean, we had family members that completely like disowned us. We had family members who like we weren't even like obviously they were on, the different side of the political spectrum, but it wasn't hateful. I mean, they came over for these are people that I knew since they were part of our family. Knew them since they were babies, since they were born. We were there for every birthday party. They were there for every Christmas, Thanksgiving. And then COVID happened and they were just like, F you. You're no longer part of our circle. And, it was one of my cousins didn't invite like the members that were, anti-masks, anti-vax, on our side. And it's like, yeah, I'm not putting a mask on. I'm not getting vaccinated. Like these people disowned us. And we're like, you can't, one of my cousins was like, didn't allow the unvaxxed people in our family to come to her wedding. We couldn't see her newborn children. I mean, total shun. But it affected my parents a lot more than it affected me. I kind of was already prepped, for it because I kind of understood who they were. But a lot of my family was just surprised that they could behave that way. But I was born in that and immersed for it so long. I knew those people better than they knew themselves, and so when they came out and acting the way they did, it didn't shock me. But it's good to know who the traitors are. The people who will churn you in when it comes down to it. Thankfully, I didn't have that many in my family, just a handful. But yeah, who you were during COVID is who you are for sure. I'm not sure what your name is there, but I'm gonna just read your post. Only reason I love 2020 was because of Call of Duty. Nowadays, Call of Duty sucks. I hate it. I like the old ones. I never got into gaming. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I did. Like when the first Xbox came out, I was into like Ghost Recon. That was a pretty fun game. But that's as far as my gaming went. AJ Ridge went through 2019 and 2020 in California, had family up here, would visit during that time. My wife and I sold our house and got the hell out in 2020. Best thing ever. Yeah. I'm just gonna try to your name there. XZSYSY. Traitors, absolutely. They're always most people are enemies. Yep. What did I miss? Maybe it's because you skip us in chat when you ask to participate. What are you referring to? I missed something. Wow, asked to participate and skipped vertically. And on our way back down through the chat, should I go pout Then you said not enough participated. Ha ha ha. Okay. We need to try to redeem anti. Anti said the hatchet. I saw you, buddy. I should have said anti. Wait, let me see your thing here. Oops. How did that happen? Did I do that? Or did you do that? Go to channel. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so that's just your name. Anti, I got your post there. Yes, you were I think you're one of the first ones to say hatchet. So yeah, good call. Sorry, I missed your post. I know it's kind of if I'm just sitting here reading posts, I don't know, it'd be kind of boring and then I got to sit here with glasses on my face looking like a fat old bearded idiot. Thanks, Rock Valley. We are in Washington State. The gun laws here are so restrictive. Also, other issues. I'll say, I'm going to try very hard to like keep my thoughts on Washington to myself, but holy smokes, Washington, you guys. And I know there's good people in Washington, but it is a strange anomaly here. You come to Idaho and everybody craps on the Californians. Dude, it's not the Californians that are ruining this place. In some ways they are. I mean, and I'm not just saying that because I'm an ex-Californian. I'm telling you right now, if you're a leftist wacko, whatever, anti-freedom, anti-gun person from California, you're not moving to Idaho. They don't move to Idaho. I can tell you right now, as a Californian, somebody that lived there, if you're going to move from, and it's not to say that they're not going to move from that place, they will. They do it all the time. But they're right now, those terrible people are just moving north. They're still, just basically fleeing north to escape the southern migration, but virtue signaling the whole way that they love diversity while they flee it, the second they get the smallest little whiff of it. So that's what they're still in the process of. Now, if they flee the state, they're going to Texas, they're going to Nevada, they're going to Arizona, they're going to Washington, they're going to Oregon, they'll go to either one of those places, or they'll go East Coast somewhere. Maybe they go that's where they're going. They go to Nashville. They're going to those trendy places. They're not coming to Idaho. I can tell they're not coming to Idaho. Now that's not to say that you don't get liberals from California. It does happen, but the vast majority of the people who are coming here and voting blue and just turning this country into a hellhole, into the new California, if you want to say, are from Washington. Hands down, guaranteed. Go to any of the No Kings protest, the LGBTQ stuff on the beach. Just go to any one of those protests when we have them here and look at the parking lot where all the protesters came in. It's a solid Washington. Solid, 100%. Same with the lakes, because I'll work out here. Every single person that lives around the lakes, the ones that vote left that are coming in, 100% Washington. So, yeah, and it's because it's an easy transition from them, because their state is becoming tyrannical. It's becoming diverse, is really what they're fleeing more than anything, because they hate diversity more than anybody, although they virtue signal, but they're fleeing it, and so they come here. And then they vote in all this garbage. So, yeah, it's sad. It's sad to watch it, but I don't know. Can't talk about this stuff without rustling feathers. So yeah, there's good people and bad people from both states, but I'm just telling you the bulk of the people that are coming here and turning this place, blue, are coming from Washington. It's not even debatable. They moved to Washington. Yeah, they moved to Washington. Right. Yeah, I don't think I know some California that like they moved to Seattle. Oh, we had a real piece of work that came from Seattle. Oh man. We're praying that he moves, but we had this Seattle, what do you call him? A Seattlean? I know it's Washingtonian, but this guy's from Seattle. It's like totally different. You got people from Washington, you have people from Seattle. It's like it's like somebody from San Francisco, California. It'd be like it's one thing to come from California. It's another thing like I'm here from San Francisco, California. So yeah, this guy comes from Seattle, and this is a guy we ended up having him trespassed. This happened a few months ago. I don't know if I brought that up, but had him trespass. He came onto our property because he's been here for 3 years. He's owned this property next door to us for 3 years. Hasn't done anything. He had a well put in. He had the power put in, but he himself hasn't done anything. He got an excavator. I shouldn't say he did anything. He got on an excavator because I don't think he's in good enough shape to actually do anything standing. So he got an excavator, a tool that he could ride in sitting down, and he took down a bunch of trees and destroyed the property, made it look bad. But he never actually did anything, never, got his house going or anything like that. He ended up having the property resurveyed. I'm going to see if my wife's like probably in the chat going, shut up. Don't tell them. Okay. Anyways, had the property resurveyed and saw that this fence, the fence in between our properties is an old fence, and it's a nothing fence. When I say fence, it's an old ranch fence, which is just the steel, those steel green stakes with wire stretched across. They don't really serve any purpose. It's like maybe 3 feet high. So yeah, this fence that's been there for 30 years. Anyways, he had the property resurveyed. Comes to find that this fence is like at the worst point bleeds onto his property by about 8 feet, which, yeah, it's a lot. Like 8 feet for sure. For like you're in an urban area, 8 feet is huge. Like that's worth fighting over, But in the scheme of like having 5 acres and you have just, 30 feet of trees, whatever, in between you and the neighbor's house, that's not a lot. And it's just, what are you going to do? And it's all hill. It's worthless land. We're talking, so anyways, the property, he had it resurveyed. Basically he wanted to see exactly where this line was. So when they survey a property, they just do 4 points, okay, on each corner of your property. They don't go point, and line it up so you can see exactly where the line is. Well, that's what he did, and found out that this fence wavered off. It was kind of started out on the right point, and then it just started kind of getting off course. And then by the time it was done at one point, and it doesn't span the whole length of the property, the fence, this ranch fence, is only for the first front part, which is his house isn't there. It's our house is down below his house. Well, he doesn't have a house, but if he does, be up on the top of the hill. And yeah, he didn't put his, the fence at the worst point is like maybe 8 feet. It's worthless land to him, but it's right at the edge of our property, and there's this gate, our gate, that goes up to our back hill, and the fence post, okay, is just a foot, barely a foot onto his property. Okay, the hinge post where this gate hinges off. So he says, because, oh, he comes over, flip it, freaking out. Oh my God, I didn't know, I didn't want it to be this way. And this was when he first discovered it, and I was kind of like, what? Like, this is just such a low stake situation. What's the big deal? Why is this such a game changer? Okay, yeah, the fence is a little off. Like, who cares? And so I tried to reason with this guy and was like, how about, you just keep the fence where it's at. It's unusable property to you. It's just trees and hillside. There's nothing you can do with the land. We'll just keep the fence where it is, and you can have some of our property up top. The same, we'll just figure out whatever distance we took. We're talking a sliver here. In the grand scheme of things, if you were to look from an aerial view, I mean, it's a sliver. It's like nothing. So we'll just figure it out. Whatever land, we took down here, you can have up there. And he was cool with that, sort of. At the beginning it was kind of cool, but then he wanted to get it all registered and have everything resurveyed and recorded with the city, which would have cost thousands of dollars. And he was expecting us to split the costs. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, what do I gain? Like, this is ridiculous. I don't gain anything out of this. Like, we don't work that way around here. Just take some of the land up top and we'll call it good. Maybe we'll have something, just personal in writing. I'm not spending $4,000 to keep this crappy fence that doesn't do me any good and give you property up top. Like, it's just not happening. So then it just, because he's Seattle, it turned into this big litigious thing. The guy's just sending these long litigious emails that are just complete BS. And, I don't respond because it's just, to me, like, when somebody goes into that mode, like, I'm going to lawyer up and I got this and blah, blah, blah. And they're sent, I'm like, dude, go away. And that just sends like, guys like this, they can't handle it. They can't handle being ignored. So he gets worse. And so him and his wife one day decide they're going to run this pink string in between all of the markers, all of the survey markers. And because, like I said, this is on a hill, well, this guy's so fat. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. This guy's so overweight. Just trying to keep my live stream going here. I don't want to use too many expletives here, but this guy is so out of shape that he couldn't do it properly, because if he was on his side running the string, he'd fall down the hill. So he had to get onto my property in order to put his stupid string up. Well, that's when I come out and I'm like, okay, this is like not going to go well, like, what do I do? I'm not going to, so we tell him, like, hey, yo, you're on our property. You got to get off the property. You can't be there. And he says, I'm not on your property, which clear as day he was. He goes, I'm not on your property. Talk to my lawyer, which, in hindsight, I wish I had said, like, who's your lawyer? Because he doesn't, I guarantee you he didn't have a lawyer. It would have been perfect, because he would have just been stumped had he done that. But he goes, talk to my lawyer. So I'm like, well, this isn't a lawyer situation. Like, I'm calling the sheriff. So we call the sheriff because he won't get off the land. It's actually kind of freaky because, here's this guy, like, clearly on our land. And he's like, I'm not getting off. And I'm kind of thinking of this from, like, just a litigious thing where it's like, look, the ball is clearly in my court. I got this guy, lock, stock, and barrel. Like, he's done. I got a picture of him. He's trespassing. We are kind of in the midst of this litigious thing that's going on. Now he's screwed. So I called the sheriff. Sheriff comes out. He bails before the sheriff gets there. We file a report. We get him trespassed. So this is 3 years. This guy's been here 3 years total. He's just a big lib from Seattle. He's been a nightmare. And this is, I haven't even told you, there's so much more to this story that came before this, where this guy was just coming over here every day, coming to our house, harassing me. Like, we need to talk about the property line. We need to talk about the property line. Coming to the, my daughter and I were doing these sale shows down at our local hall. He's coming to that. When my daughter and I are on a Saturday trying to, do our local market, he's wanting to talk about the property line while I'm at a market, like a father's, daughter's, kids' day thing. It was like, this guy was insane. And so eventually what ended up happening was he came over one day and then I lost it on him. I said a lot of explicit, expletives. I went off on this guy and was like, get the F off my property. I'm not talking to you anymore. You're an idiot. Like, I just went off. And from that point on, I didn't. This is when I started ignoring him. And then that's when all the stupid litigious emails started coming in. Anyways, fast forward like a month later, he's on the property, call the sheriff, get him trespassed. So a month goes by. What happens? And then month goes by and he starts showing up. Like, people start showing up. Things are moving. He's got this tractor. He had 2 tractors. They both came and went. And I'm like, is he selling this stuff? I couldn't figure it out. And then he had a horse trailer that disappeared. And then what else disappeared? Oh, and then the camper. And then he came and picked up his camper that he was kind of living in from time to time. That disappeared. And then the tractors, the truck, everything just kind of disappeared. And then we looked on Facebook Marketplace. We found, it was actually my neighbor that found it, because my neighbor is actually at war with him too. And my neighbor sent me, texted me. He's like, he's selling everything. Because I kept trying to say, I'm like, he's moving. This guy is not guaranteed. Like, after the trespassing thing, I'm like, he's done. There's no way he's going to stick it out and build this property. There's no way. He's out. This is just a big pipe dream. And so sure enough, he was just liquidating. He's selling all of his stuff. But it's not 100% guaranteed, but pretty certain now. Like, it's just a matter of time. We're waiting for the for sale sign to go up. But I think he's just trying to get the rest of the stuff off the land. But there's going to be land available next door to the Idaho Prepper, but I'm not going to advertise it. Obviously, I don't want my stalkers, my enemies, to come here and kill me like they've promised they would. So unfortunately, I can't put that info on here. But you guys wouldn't want to buy it. I wouldn't sell this property next door. It really is just total garbage. I tried explaining it to the guy. I was like, when he first showed up, because he asked me. This is before I knew he was like a total ass. But it's just worthless land, practically. Because the hill is so steep, the driveway going in is so steep, that it's just going to be a nightmare going up there in the winter. It probably won't be able to make it in the winter. It'd be totally inaccessible in the winter. So I think that's just kind of realizing... Is he a fellow neighbor, a native Idahoan? No, he's a native Washingtonian. He's from Seattle, Washington. Yeah, I think he was a tech guy. He's just worked in tech. He tried to tell us that he was a construction guy. And he would say things that were kind of like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, maybe he's in construction. He kept saying like, oh yeah, I've done this, this kind of work. Because in order to make sense of this property next door, you would have to be like such a good if there is such a thing, like a geographical engineer, like just knowing how to work land to make sense of it. I mean, you'd have to bring in an insane amount of dirt, like an insane amount of dirt, probably like 160 truckloads, like dump truckloads full of dirt, just to like kind of level out the front and take some of the slope out of the hill, which is what he was talking about doing so that he could have horses, which didn't really make sense. And there's a lot, anyways. But yeah, so he would say things that were kind of, on point as far as being a contractor. But then the stuff he was doing, it was like kind of that thing where it was like he was such a mystery because he would say things that, like, yeah, that makes sense. But then he'd do things that didn't make any sense. Like start his project with a fence, with a white picket fence. He kept talking about this ranch fence. I'm like, who starts a construction project with a fence? Like, buddy, you got a house to build. Like, you got a lot of stuff to do. The last thing you should be putting in is your fence. Anyways, yeah, hopefully he's gone, but this land is worthless. I think he was just a tech guy. The whole thing about him being this big, he said that he had like created all these major developments in Washington, like housing developments, and I've done it a million times. The guy had no clue what he was doing. In the end, he had no clue what he was doing. The one thing he built, and then this is kind of like the nail in the coffin, is he built this like pump house for the well and his power, which I think he's just doing. He's grooming the property to get it ready to list. And so he just kind of built this pump house. The thing was built so embarrassingly bad. I mean, he just had some twisted old pressure treated 4x4s, just stuck in the ground, no concrete, just stuck them in the ground. Basically nailed some 2x4s around it. Split the hell. I mean, just made a mess out of the 2x4s. They're all split from over nailing. What else? It was all crooked. He had these roof joists going on for this, this little metal roof that he put on. Those were all bad, out of line, twisted. He wasn't even selecting the lumber correctly, so the lumber he was picking was just crap. I mean, there was so many. He had an interior door as the door on this pump room. So, anyways, just one of those things. It's just total BS artist. Whoa. Hopefully you guys didn't see that. I didn't think I had any more coffee left. But, yeah, hopefully he's gone. But, I don't know. I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place with whoever the next victim is of this property, because it's like, as much as I want, if somebody comes and says, hey, that somebody I really want, like, you would be a much better neighbor, and I really want this guy gone, at the same time, it's like, I can't let you buy this property. So I'm really between a rock and a hard place with this property, because I want somebody good there, but, whoever buys it is going to be buying an absolute nightmare. So we'll see what happens. Where am I at? Oh, 39. So that's pretty good. I'm still retaining. Not bad for a Sunday night at, what time is it? So weird. Oh, here it is, 10:38. Wow, that's great. They included clocks on $1,500 laptops. And a date. Look at that. Wouldn't you know? 10:38 on a Sunday night. I'm still holding strong. 37. Oh, I spoke too soon. I'm losing them. I'm losing everybody. That's okay. It's late. I haven't even eaten dinner. I got to go to bed. My neck is really sore. Oh, I'm gonna read a couple more comments and then I'm gonna call it. Oh man, you guys have been yapping up a storm in here. Uh, PH expat prepper. Are you in the Philippines? I think you're who I think you are. You're in the Philippines. I'm not sure if you're who I'm thinking of. Gonna just try. I'm just sifting through the comments here, trying to find something that's geared to me and not just you guys speaking amongst yourselves here. Don't want to make an idiot out of myself again. It's a shame Washington State is beautiful but crazy. I know, just like California, they always take over the best places. I don't know, man. We're just gonna have to, the solution. One of these days, maybe I'll talk about it. I will say, like the censorship, you know, the restrictions on censorship have been lifting, like kind of in an almost an eerie way. It's something that I keep wanting to bring up. Here I am bringing up all the important stuff at the end of the show, but I don't know, man. Like all of a sudden, we went from a heavily censored YouTube platform, Twitter platform, like all these platforms, even Rumble to an extent was very heavily censored, to all of a sudden in the last year, it's like the censorship's gone. And originally I thought, maybe this was because of whatchamacallit, TikTok, and being this competitor, and everybody started going over there because they were more like pro free speech. And so then YouTube, all these other platforms started to panic, and so they, to bring their people back, they started lifting the the censorship because they knew that that's what was drawing people away. But now it's just like it's just becoming more and more free speech, which is, either they're doing it, I mean, because they're data harvesting for AI, and they're just, wanting to let people speak their minds because it is benefiting them in some way for that, for the data harvesting that's going on, which I'm sure that's a big part of it. But it is something that, even though it's like, okay, yeah, I can get away with saying a lot of things on here, I hesitate for a couple reasons. One, I'm not sure. I'm gonna wait until things pan out. But two, it's just not worth it. I'm not a good. It's not worth it for me to speak on these controversial subjects because I just wouldn't be a good messenger of it. I don't think I just end up saying a bunch of really controversial stuff and then pissing people off, not really making any sense, like connecting. I just wouldn't be a good whistleblower because I'm really not that good at articulating my points and my thoughts very well. So I just refrain from speaking on a lot of these these controversial topics for that reason. Now, if I could really deliver a powerful message, I would. I would be that guy. I would be. I'd say a lot more stuff, but it just wouldn't benefit you or me. So I'd end up just saying a bunch of stuff, getting my YouTube channel shut down, and I wouldn't wake anybody up to what I was trying to convey. So convey. See, terrible spokesman. So I'm gonna stick to what I know, which is prepping, and I just barely know that. But yeah, where was I going with that? I was reading a comment. Okay, so there I remember expat. I was asking you if you went to the Philippines. Nya, nya. Nya, 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 nya. Tim Pool. Nah. Tim Pool is just kind of he's a blue pill. He's a fake red pill. He's a fake red pill. I mean, he says some good stuff. I kind of look at those guys as like gateway. They're like gateway drugs to the real thing. But yeah, those guys are still very, they self censor. Okay, they self censor, and that's okay. But you shouldn't be, like I said. It's like, if you're gonna speak the truth, speak the truth. Take things to their ultimate logical conclusion. Don't act like you're a truth teller and then don't actually tell the truth. And that's what a lot of those guys do. Or they'll, some of the guys will just kind of, skim the edges of stuff, but they don't go full blown, which is what you need to do. You need to take things to their ultimate logical conclusion. You need to be able to say what needs to be said, expose the people that need to be exposed, say it like it is. Otherwise, do something else. If you're going to be a truth teller and I'm going to have a news show, then you need to go full blown. You need to expose who we need to expose. That's what I'll say. What about Black Pill? Black Pill's good. You mean Devin Stack? He's good. He actually still has his channel is still up. His channel is still up, but the last video he put out was like 5 years ago. Because I remember it was during the when Joe Biden got elected. Yeah, I remember he was like, there was like a lot of people who were like, we're dead. Thought like it was over. Because like September, or J6 happened. And it was like, I remember like J6, that was such a dark time. I thought for sure it was like, all right, we're screwed. Like they're going to be kicking down our door and rounding us up. This is going to be bad. Okay, yes, you have lived in the Philippines for a decade. Sandbags. I'll get some sandbags, make my future front and backyard a trench. Nice, that's not a bad idea. If I could just like really go like hardcore, meaning like if I wasn't married and I could just go full hardcore prepper, there's just like no end to how crazy my property would look. I'd have razor wire. I'd have look, she's already jumping in here. Homestead healing. Angry. Well, seriously though, I mean it would just be ridiculous. The house would look ridiculous. I would probably have like a checkpoint station at the front gate. There would be like an armored gate, okay, with like a checkpoint station. There would be a observation tower for sure. We'd have an observation tower with spotlights and sandbags circulating, circulating it. This is embarrassing. I'm surprised I do live streams. Kind of exposing my my retardation to all of you guys. But yeah, the house would just look ridiculous. It would just be like, it'd just be ridiculous. She says, I love that idea. Sure you do. Until your friends came over and they were like, why is there an armed guard in front of your house? It's really cool until the armed guard shows up at the front of the house. A turret, of course you'd have a turret. I'd have turrets everywhere. I'd have what do they call them? Pill boxes, you know, just buried holes with sandbags all around them and turrets. I'd have them strategically placed all over the place. The sandbags are expensive. Honestly, I'd probably be doing that, but friggin', I don't know why. Those sandbags can get kind of pricey. Those like burlap bags or whatever. Bunker for sure. I know, dude. I'm telling you, the bunker thing I've actually been thinking about, or just at least, it's a long story because we'll get an excavator here, but the thing is, this isn't like, this isn't like totally my property. I share this property. And so I'm not the final say in a lot of things. And I'm not just talking about my wife, but family. I share this property with family. So there's things that, we all have to agree on, but I would love to be able to put in at least a root cellar, you know? But I need it. I need an excavator. I need an excavator for a day or a couple days. What's funny is I have all these guys on my street that have excavators, but like they're all, these guys. One guy's like kind of cool. The other guy I thought was cool. He's not. He's definitely not cool. Um, and it would be nice if they were cool. They'd be like, "Hey, Joe, hey, you can borrow my excavator for a day." In exchange for something, but they won't. They're just like, it's mine. And I'm not like that. Like, I have tractors, I have a lot of equipment that I'd be like, here, I'd let people borrow all of my stuff because I'm just like that person. I'm not a selfish person. I try to be as selfless as I can, even if it wrecks my stuff. Oh, well, it is what it is. But I'm very, just here, what's mine is yours, especially when it comes to my neighborhood, because I know there's going to be a bad time someday and we're going to need to rely on each other, and you got to be as giving as possible. But man, there are like guys on this street that are just, I mean, I have a real harsh resentment that right now I'm working on between me and God and my resentment. But man, you know, there's going to be some bad apples on this street that I just I'm not looking forward to having to share any type of, or participate in any type of disastrous situation with these people, because they're just total traitors, backstabbers, selfish, like super selfish, backstabbing people, lying, deceptive. Yeah, some of them do watch this. Who? I don't think they do. I don't know. I, there's only one guy I think for sure, and I'm cool with him. I don't think the people I know, the people that own heavy equipment, no, they're not watching this. Damn, bro, it's not God's fault. If it weren't for him, we may not even be here. I don't understand. I'm not blaming God. If in the movies and video games I play, there are traitors. Oh yeah, you gotta watch out for them. I remember watching. You remember there was like a Doomsday Preppers. It was like one of the first ones way back in the day, like in 2011 or 2010 or whenever that show came out. Maybe 2000. I can't remember. But one of the Doomsday Preppers episodes, I remember this guy was like, he was putting together like a commune, and he was like, I remember they got to this point where the preparedness plan, they were like, one, it was like, what are we going to do with the dead? Like, how are we going to dispose of people who get sick and die? And so they were working on that. And then this guy was like, what are we going to do with the traitors? Like, what? He's like, we're going to have to institute like a court. And so like he was putting together like, and basically he was creating like an execution. Um, he was like putting together, what did they call that? Like a execution court or whatever. But the guy was literally started building a, whatchamacallit, where they hang people. You walk up the thing and there's a trap door and they hang you. He was building one of those. Wasn't going like full guillotine, but he was building the trap door, like the noose, the hangman's gallows. Is that what it is? Yeah. He's building a gallows. And then like that's when the people in his like the people in his commune or whatever it was joining his preppers group were like, Randy, like, I'm not sure I want to be part of your group anymore. Tribunal. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember like those old school days of YouTube preppers. I'm trying to remember. There's still some guys that are still on. One is Southern Prepper One, and he was on. He got his start from Doomsday Preppers. He was on that show, and then so he was definitely an OG. And then Sensible Prepper. He's one of the originals. There was what was that guy? He was a gun guy. There was some gun guys. But anyways, Patriot Nurse, I want to say was kind of in there. Although I think she kind of came a little later. But there was a guy that she was following. A lot of those guys started. There was this other guy. He ended up getting. He was a veteran. He ended up getting brain cancer. I can't remember his name, and he passed away. It was really sad, but he was one of the original preppers. And I almost want to say he was like one of the guys that was actually, he'd gotten to that point in his preparedness plan where he was talking about creating these tribunals and how you would deal with traitors. Because, like he was basically, his point was like, if you're in a situation where, resources are extremely limited, the value of life, it just goes, things become more serious. The situation totally changes because it's just been, the stakes are so high because life becomes so much more precarious. Just the resources are so more precarious. So that you got to start, people have to really be looking out for each other. You can't afford to have liars or anything because the stakes are just so high because resources are so limited. So he's like, you have to basically put a system of government in place that is far more strict than the one we have. That is far less lenient. The penalties for traitors and liars. You got somebody stealing the food or something. It has to be severe. Because one bad apple could literally mean like everybody dying. So he's like, so the laws have to become more severe. The punishment and consequences have to be more severe. So that was the reasoning behind it. It makes sense. I mean, I'm sure it would. You ended up in a situation like that. Yeah, rules are going to change. It's not going to be lenient little slaps on the wrist like it is now because resources and food and everything's plentiful. You know, you can get away with stealing stuff. It's not going to destroy things, but you end up in a really bad situation where there's not a lot of food, not a lot of medicine. People are just clinging to life. You cannot afford to have some traitor idiot like liar in your group. And if you catch one, you gotta the penalty has to be severe so that nobody tries it again. So it was an interesting time for preppers back in the old early 20s, 2000s. Oh, look at this guy. Kent just coming in. Good evening, good people. Yeah, you can't build community after you need it. It's true. But hey, welcome, Kent. Better late than never. Here you are. Yeah. Yeah, that's a real thing. Maybe we should do a show on that. I don't know. It's funny because I actually ran a transitional living house for uh, young men who are struggling with alcohol and substance abuse, and I had to create the rule sheet from scratch. And I'll tell you, within like the second or third year of running that home, that rule sheet, I mean, it was just pages because what happens is like you you speculate and theorize on the sort of rules you'll need in place and like okay if I catch somebody doing this like I'm gonna give them this type of punishment, and if they do it a second time they get this kind of punishment, and then the third time then they get kicked out, right? That kind of thing. But these guys just kept finding like loopholes, so I had to keep coming up with new laws and then new consequences. And man, like I can see why bureaucracy gets the way it is. And it's because of people. It's because of bad people. Really, constantly bending the rules, breaking the rules, exploiting the system. And every time that happens, the rule makers, the people who are trying to keep your system of government in order and keep the society from collapsing and your civilization functioning, like you have to come up with new rules. So that's where bureaucracy comes from. It's not necessarily always just a bunch of power hungry, politicians coming up with rules. It's like basically people, organizers who are like, we need to try to keep our civilization intact and things functioning and a society going. And when you have this element of your society that's just constantly cheating and deceiving, they just don't know any other way. You have to figure out a way to deal with these people, like in a civil way, because you can't just kill them. Although that sometimes that's what it has to come to. But what it is interesting. Who's going to the Prepper Expo? See you at the Prepper Expo. Jeff asked if you'd be there. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna make it a point to be there. Yeah, I'll be there. I gotta touch base. I have to respond to the lady who's running it because she told me she was gonna get me some stuff. She's gonna get me like a VIP pass or whatever so that I can film people. Mike Tanko Whiskey. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, you're a close neighbor. You're gonna have to. I know. Scrounge up $5. I'm gonna have to sell some fire tinder if I'm gonna go to this prepper expo. Especially if I could get the whole family. That's like at least a couple cans of snares. I'm sure they're gonna be charging like $30 a hot dog or something to make up for their low admission rate. That's like our carnival. You go in, the carnival's like $5 to get in, and then you're like, you want to drink something, it's like $37 for a lemonade. Literally, that fair. I'm always like, every time we go to that fair, I mean, it's fun. It's like the kids, whatever. The fair, it's like those rides. I don't know how those rides are even legal. These things are straight up out of the 1970s for sure. And the things, all these rides are clearly being run by like uh, the third world. I'll just put it that way. These things have third world written all over them. I don't know how those things are even able, like how they're even allowed in America is beyond me. Let alone like set up and like they just allow kids to jump on them. It's insane. And then the food is uh, even more suspicious. I'm just sitting there thinking like I just paid $37 for a meal that is most likely going to give me parasites. Do I have 8 kids? Oh, oh, she's asking that. What is this number? What is that all about? Number 3. Oh, what is that? What's the crown? I don't even know. You guys like have all these features. I don't even know what they are. What does that mean? Does that mean like you're the best? Oh, top fans. Like, I didn't even know I had that. It's like something YouTube does. Yeah, YouTube just started doing this thing, I guess, where you can like a thumbs up, like they give you, what is it? It's like if you want to give somebody 20 thumbs up or 300 thumbs up, like I guess that you get like a certain amount of big thumbs up per month. So if somebody wants to give you all of their thumbs up, they can do that, and it helps promote your video, your channel better. I don't know if you guys see that, but yeah, you can just give somebody like 300 thumbs up if you want to. It exhausts all your thumbs up. You can't give any more channels, I guess, thumbs up. But if you really like a channel, I don't know what channel that'd be, but some YouTube channel maybe you watch and you like it, you could just give them all of your thumbs up, and it would really help promote them and help supplement their income when they're not painting houses in the summer because everybody's stabbing me in the back in my town and not letting me paint their houses. Just kidding. Honestly, you guys, this is just me, my attempt at humor. I'm really not bitter at my neighbors for giving all their painting work to strangers. Lake City Prepping. Who's that? Is there somebody called Lake City Prepping? Yeah, my coffee cup is empty. You're still live streaming, brother. Went to the gym, but I'm back now. LT Outdoorsman. You go to the gym? That's crazy. I should go to the gym. If I was like super motivated and had energy and wasn't like a sore old man, what I need is like somebody that just like wakes me up in the morning and like just slaps me across the face and then just grabs me by the back of the neck and throws me in a van and takes me to a gym and then just puts a gun to my head and forces me to work out for an hour or two. It's about the only way I'm going to get in shape. Good night, brother. NorCal Chris. Oh, you're saying good night to somebody else. I was like, whoa, he went against his word. No, he's leaving. PH is leaving. Expat Prepper is leaving. Why YouTube chat uses an AI to decide if your commenters are participating? I didn't know that. California people judge too much. I got to go to the gym, says LT Outdoorsman. That sucks. Yeah, you got to. Well, yeah, you're in California. You got those beaches. You got to have like that swimmers. But you got to have that beach body because you're for. I know. I was just like we're on a camping trip, and we're on a beach at a lake, and everybody's like, "All right, dude, you gonna go swimming?" I'm like, "No." It's like 110 degrees outside. I feel like remember John Candy in Vacation? She's like, come on, honey, go in the water. He's like, not until I lose like 3 or 4 pounds. He's like 600 pounds. No, it's funny. I just have like, you know what it is? Honestly, I just have like crazy tattoos that I would just, at this point, they were so cool when I was young. And now they're just, it's weird, you know? It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know, the flying eyeball seemed really cool when I was 20, but now I'm 49. It's like, yeah, having a flying eyeball on your chest just really isn't something you want to be walking around with. Yeah, from my former idiot life, it was more like it. I don't think I ever want tattoos. Maybe a camouflage pattern tattoo. That's good. Not only are they just, you're gonna regret them, but they're not healthy for you. That ink is not good. I don't know. Maybe if I got in shape, but like I said, it's like man's got to know his limitations. You know, it's like a certain point you know in your life, you get to your 49. It's like, dude, if you're not in shape now, you're never gonna be in shape. Why would I get in shape now? My wife doesn't care what I look like, right, honey? That's what I'll tell you right now. Is like saw some video where this guy was like, he's like, hey kids, if your dad has a 6-pack, like he's cheating on your mom for sure. If your dad is like ripped and tan, he's cheating on your mom. And vice versa. If your mom has like a boob job and she's like all fit and like super sexy, she's cheating on your dad. because there's no reason to like, there's no reason to be looking amazing when you're married and have kids. Sorry. No, that's, I totally believe in getting in shape. I should be in shape. I am constantly active. You know, I believe in being in shape. I definitely don't think you should be like way overweight. And I'm probably, honestly, I'm 180. I'm 5'10. I'm 180 pounds. So I'm about, somewhere between 5 to 10 pounds overweight. Okay. I'm 49. I got a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, I should be spending more time, especially at my age. It's good. My testosterone's probably starting to plummet. You say right when you hit 40, you should be doing stuff to try to like increase your testosterone. Eat, probably staying away from carbs more, which I really try to do. No sugar, no sweets, no, like, to stay away from the bread. I'm trying to source a lot more protein through eggs and meat. But yeah, I should be doing more sit-ups, more push-ups. I got weights. I just need to start doing it. But like during the day, I'm just thinking about trying to get work going. I'm just consumed with work, unfortunately. Trying to make money to keep this whole, you know, all this crap going. Everything takes money. The frickin' internet, the stupid phone and internet was like almost $1,000 this month. How are you supposed to live? Like, it's insane. I paid Verizon almost $1,000 this month. It's insane. But yeah, could I do like, could I hike 5 miles with like a 50-pound pack on my back? Probably not. I mean, eventually I could with lots of breaks, you know. Could I do it? Like, I've actually walked a lot. Like that one video I did where it was like the turkey hunt, like on where I was hunting and camping on public land, and I put so much time and energy into that video, and nobody watched it. But that video, I I hiked like I lost at least 5 solid pounds doing that video because I did so much hiking for that video. It was crazy. I was hiking nonstop all day up a hill and down a hill and then up a hill and down a hill and up a hill. I was everywhere. I covered every square inch of this place with gear, on that video. So it can be done. And that's with like an old beaten up body with a, blown out kneecap. For those of you who don't know, I lost my kneecap in a car accident when I was 18. And my whole right leg is pretty destroyed. And my kneecap pops out of place all the time and I have to stop. And luckily I figured out how to pop it back into place, but I got to like kneel down and pop my kneecap back into place. But that's where I'm at right now. So yeah, I'm not going to pretend to be some like, somebody that could do this extreme bug out survival stuff. I could do it, but it's not going to be like, I do those videos where I have my 50-pound bag. It's like, yeah, I'm probably not going to be packing. I mean, if I was to have to hump that, maybe, I don't know, 5 miles. Yeah, 3 to 5 miles. I could hump that pack. Now, there'd be breaks. I could probably only go, I don't know, a couple 100 yards at a time before I have to like stop and rest for a minute. My legs or my knees and joints would probably start screaming. But I just have muscle fiber that's gone. It's like it will never grow back. There's nothing I can do. It's just trashed muscle fiber from my accidents. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get off to bed. That's good. 33. Well, hey, to all of you that are still in the chat, love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I talked enough about what was going on with National Preparedness Month. I mean, not a whole lot to say. Not that we really need a month to prepare, but we should all be prepared. I will say, you know, if you guys are interested in any of the products, the one thing I would probably jump on are the solar generators, because those will start getting expensive here really soon as we head into the winter. So if you're thinking about getting a generator, get them now. I got some discounts and deals, whatever. I'll put links in the description, but that's definitely a good thing to get before the winter starts. And ammo wars are probably going to start breaking out, and all the ammo contracts are going to start going to military. So I'd say get ammo, keep cash on hand. There'll probably be a run on the banks this year with this economy. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description for that video, but they talk about that, us entering into a situation where there is going to be a run on the banks. So definitely keep cash on hand. Buy silver, buy gold. Silver's still doing pretty. I mean, a lot of these precious metal spectators are saying like with gold, like you haven't seen anything yet. Like it's really gonna spike. And if that spikes, silver's gonna go up. Bitcoin, it's gonna go up. So invest in these things. I think that they will be valuable. And for those of you who don't have money, like invest in bartering stuff. They say the most common things that are bartered: ammo, tobacco, alcohol. Those are the things. It was a guy who was saying, what are those little small bottles of alcohol, whiskey, whatever? Those things are hot commodities in barter monetary system type societies. So tobacco in those bottles are huge. And bullets, of course. So anyways, that's going to do it for me today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, share the video, share my channel, and until the next time, stay prepared. Turn this off.